they invited me to a place to preach, and I was, preaching the word. And one of the, wonderful, charismatic sisters there just stood up and started a chorus. I was still preaching. Courteous liberty. The liberty we have, we need to exercise caution. A pastor has some liberty. Pastor, me included, we need to exercise caution with the liberty we have. General superintendent, general overseer, we have some liberty. By virtue of our position, we have liberty. Superintendent, overseer, we need caution with the liberty we have. We cannot just talk anyhow because we're on the pulpit, or because when we're not on the pulpit, we have the rod and we have the authority, and we join audacity with authority. Superintendent general, overseer general, we need to exercise caution in the things we say, in the things we do, we even deal with the people of God. Caution. Leaders, managers, whoever we are, we have some privileges in our section, that section and that section. And some of us have the liberty, not only in a local church, the media has given us liberty. And we have the method, we can post something there on the net for everybody to read. Sir, exercise caution. How will this lead people to Christ? How will this draw people away from Christ? How will this trample upon the church? How will this relegate the pastor to the background? How will this muzzle the mouth of the preacher, so that the preachers now, they don't have liberty to fulfill the Great Commission? Sir, man, even though you have the whole media, the whole world listening to you because of the talent you have, exercise caution. Don't be angry. Don't be angry at Christ, angry at the church, and don't get so angry that you can do something that will limit the preaching of the gospel. That even though we're preaching, the people there who have read what we posted there will belittle us. They will not listen to what we're saying again, because in your liberty you didn't exercise caution. And now the preaching of the word is not fully respected. Exercise caution. Members of the church, we have liberty. God has called us unto liberty. Only use not your liberty as a cloak of evil, sin, tradition. And then because you have liberty, in a large crowd like this, virtually everyone has liberty. You can, they invited me to a place to preach, and I was, preaching the word. And one of the, wonderful, charismatic sisters there just stood up and started a chorus. I was still preaching. And then the rest of the people, started the choruses. And I had to stop because they couldn't hear me. They were all singing. And eventually when that fellow stopped, calmed down, I started preaching again. And then another person, liberty from the membership, also started another kind of singing. Then I realized that Preachers have liberty to preach, and members have liberty to do whatever they will do, to say, either that's enough, or we agree with you, or whatever. But we're able to go through the service, and I was still able to give the altar call, and people still came to the Lord, and I had some wonderful things that that happened. You know why? Because I myself, as the preacher, when that sister stood up there and started singing chorus, I exercised caution. I knew this is not my regular assembly. And even though I have liberty as the preacher, the invited, I could have said, that's enough, sit down there, I'm preaching. But I had to exercise caution. All of us, preacher, pastor, general superintendent, members, we need caution for the liberty we think we have. That's why we're looking at this now in Luke chapter 9 verse 49. And John answered and said, Master, we saw one casting out devils in thy name, and we forbade him. We didn't even have to come to you to ask, should we not? We forbade him, because he followeth not with us. Verse 50. In verse 50, and Jesus said unto him, forbid him not, for he that is not against us is for us. Courteous liberty in forbidding brethren without blindness. James and John were blind to the desire of Christ, that this gospel will be taken by everyone, everywhere, and go declare Jesus says. And if they have any challenge, like sickness or demons, cut them out. They were blind to what Christ wanted. We're looking at three things here. Number one, congenital blindness, forbidding other committed disciples. Number two, common blindness, focusing only on casting out devils and curing diseases. Number three, contempt, condemned blindness, found in corrupting disciples. Those who are trying to disciple other people, and yet they themselves, they're corrupted. They do not have the real gospel, the pure gospel, the transforming gospel. And yet they're trying to disciple others. They're blind, and their blindness is condemned. Look at number one. Number one, congenital blindness, forbidding other committed disciples. James or John, they saw somebody committed. He left house, left job, left his daily responsibilities, and he had developed himself from what he had heard of Christ. And he had heard that the name of Christ will cast out devils, and now he came out committed, casting out devils in his name, and they forbade him. What if the man did not agree with you, John? What will you do? He says, I know what I'm doing. You cannot forbid me. As Christ sent you to stop me, so I continue. John, what will you do? Maybe they'll raise their voice. Maybe they clamp down on him. What if the man remains adamant? I know I'm not doing anything wrong. John, be careful, lest we resort to boxing each other. in trying to stop somebody, and the person refuses to stop, you might lose your temper. You might lose all the grace in you. You might go out of the kingdom and then begin to do something outside the kingdom so as to effectively stop that person. Let's be very careful. There is a narrow line between righteousness and unrighteousness. There's a narrow line between trying to have authority over other people and still having authority over yourself. Be very careful.